you took a lot of photo inside at a birthday or marriage or concert as this photo, came home, opened the photos inside your computer, and the exposure and color is all over the place. Why? Because probably a good reason is indoor and low light, and second, the light is coming from all over the place and they're all different color, and as a result the camera kind of screwed all your photo. Lucky for you, probably you've taken all the photos in RAW, so you'll be able to fix it in editing software, which is a very good news. So in this tutorial, I'm going to show you how to do that. And the second thing you're going to learn, especially if you are a Panasonic user, this photo particularly taken with the Panasonic GH5, that means that you'll be able to use any kind of Panasonic in-camera settings in SilkyPix Developer Studio Pro, because SilkyPix natively support Panasonic, which means the lens correction will be done automatically. You don't need to worry about it. The demosaicing and noise reduction and sharpening will be done just like it was in camera, and you're definitely going to have exact same quality JPEG in camera in SilkyPix Developer Studio Pro, and that's a very good news. You also will be able to use all the picture profile of Panasonic in SilkyPix Developer Studio Pro. So let's jump in one at a time. First of all, I'm going to jump in to lens correction to show you if it's true or not. Yep, it's true that you don't need to do any kind of lens correction in SilkyPix Developer Studio Pro for Panasonic files. That's a very good news. So my one job is done, although I'm going to turn on the chromatic aberration because as you can see that the lights is coming from all over the place. Lucky for me, the photograph, the face is well exposed right there, which is a good news, as his hand is not really well exposed. The reason behind is taken in 1.8. So it's quite expected. Now that part is done. The second thing I like to do is the white balance. Now in SilkyPix Developer Studio Pro, you have a particular tool for situation like that, where you have lights coming from different sources. So you have magenta, you have orange, you have green, and the skin tone is completely different. So as you can imagine that it's kind of scary. So I'm gonna give it a go with the skin color tool, see if it's helping me. So I'm gonna drop on him like that, like beam. Problem almost solved, because when it comes to exposure and the color became unified. So I'm going to show you before and after. So that's before, and this is now after. Obviously expect quite a bit of a noise, that's quite evident. Now multi-light source compensation, it's something that to fix any light coming from all over the place. So I'm going to fix that, try to bring some magenta color back. So let's see how it's helping me. So yeah, it's doing a little bit of work. At least it's showing that you had some kind of magenta there. So I'm gonna change the color deflection right there a little bit. There you go. Because I don't mind a little bit of red tone on his skin. That's totally fine, because that's how he originally was. As you can clearly see in the previous photo, the original one, that was the original light source. And now this is after. So I don't mind. Now dark adjustment, which means that in the dark area, do I keep the actual light or do I change it to either pink or green? So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go to the towards green. There you go. What happened is that now we have a beautiful contrast between the dark and the light area. As you can see, his t-shirt is kind of overexposed. So I'm going to fix that in the exposure. I'm going to go to the color burn HDR and then try to bring some of those lost detail back. At least I want his face to be more exposed than his t-shirt. That will be my objective. Now I'm going to turn down the highlight as well, see how far I can go. Looks good so far. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to also reduce the exposure just a little bit like that. And when I'm doing that, I'm going to go to the curve and then pull down the 255 down to 94. As you can clearly see that we are making a progress when it comes to the highlight, but then again overall exposure is going down. So I'm going to stop right about there. So that's done, but I'm going to pull up the midtone. As you can clearly see in the curve, I'm pulling up the midtone using the L curve, not RGB, L curve. So photo started to look very good, but I have something else in my sleeve, which is I'm very excited about. Remember, it's a Panasonic RAW file. So that means I have a phenomenal opportunity. Instead of using the SilkyPix native picture profile, I can use the camera photo style or camera color, which is available in any Panasonic cameras. That's a good news. So that means that in color representation, now I have all the Panasonic picture profiles vivid. This is the standard vivid. I'm going to go through one at a time, see what gives me what. I'm also though going to zoom in a little bit. Check this one out so that I can see what's the effect of the color profile. Bam. And then, so this is neutral. That was the original one. Then monochrome. Monochrome looks actually not bad at all. The light monochrome is a bit more contrasty, which is not bad either. Scenery, I believe that's for landscape, outdoor landscape. I don't know the difference between scenery and vivid. I think they're both quite saturated, but scenery emphasize on, I believe, blue and green. I don't be surprised if that's so. Portrait, obviously, that I could go for that one, given the fact that there are persons in the photo, but I'm very intrigued about Cine like D and Cine like V because it gives by default a good film look. So I'm gonna actually stop at Cine like V. That would be good. So I'm gonna see the changes. Check this one out. So I'm gonna show you before and after. So that's before and that's after. Amazing, isn't it? Color temperature though, I'm gonna bring back just a little because I want a little bit of orange punchy look. Nothing wrong with that, you know what I mean? And then I'm going to, in the curve, I'm going to go to the RGB and pull up the shadow part, the lower shadow part like that, and pull down the lower midtone just a touch and pull up the midtone just a little bit up. We are looking good here. And then did you notice that the photo is in 16:9 format? Actually, the reason why, because when the photo was taken, I believe the person who took the photo was also filming, and he was filming in 16:9 format. So the raw was captured in this format as well, and the SilkyPix developer didn't change it, which is actually good news. That means that, again, SilkyPix natively support Panasonic files, and it's going to bring in all the settings that was done in camera. Now, I don't want that 16:9 format for the photograph. For video, makes sense. For photo, not really. So I'm going to go to the crop. And you can clearly see that the empty space there, huh? So that's a good thing. So I'm gonna bring it up, gives it a little bit more depth. And as you might ask, like, what about this hand here, like this person? Actually, this thing helps this photograph, meaning that you can actually feel that there are people inside the room and they're enjoying it. So nothing wrong with that actually, not at all. So, but I'm gonna make this as a square format. I'm not gonna get rid of the name because that gives also a meaning to the photograph. And cropping is done. What got left is nothing much, to be honest. So in photograph like that, in indoor, you need to make sure few things. One, your highlight is not clipping, your black is not crushing, your subject is well exposed. If not well exposed, at least exposed enough to be visible enough. And the skin is nothing wrong with it, meaning that it's not too red, it's not too any extreme color. You are close to the original, yet you have a little bit of color reflection from different sources, which is totally natural, 100% natural. As a matter of fact, I'm going to make it a bit more yellow or orange, although I will reduce the saturation quite a bit, just a little bit. Now, we are doing well so far, but one last thing that I would like to test, this part is completely a test part. I'm going to go to the blue curve, which is my favorite, and then try to make a little bit of like a blue S curve. So I'm going to pull up the upper midtone and then reduce the lower midtone. And finally, once again, I'm going to go for before and after. So that's before, right? And that's after. We are looking very good, but you know, it's always a but, right? What I'm trying to say is that as much as it looks good, but we still need to do sharpening and especially noise reduction because it is already a low light photo in Micro Four Third ISO 400. As a Micro Four Third, this is a significantly low amount of noise, considerably low amount of noise, which is a very good news. But I want to see the result after the noise reduction. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go this time to default. Yes. So sharpening, I'm not going to touch. That will remain default. Although what I like to see is the fine detail. Instead of leaving it to the standard, I'm going to change it to fine details. The reason behind it, the fine detail in Silky Pixel Pro Studio Pro protects your bright area and keep all the details while doing a noise reduction in the shadow area. That's a fantastic thing. And then I'm gonna add some fringing. The reason why I'm gonna add fringing, because in his nose or any kind of high contrast area, because it's a multi-light photograph, it helps. So I'm gonna add a touch, like 11 should be fine. And then I'm going to go to the demosaic sharpening right there. And then what I'm going to do, I'm going to let the software render and see what's happening at the very end. Then I'm going to show you before and after. So while I'm letting the software render, I'm going to go to the second photo. This one is actually in the same event, but was taken with a Sony camera. So noise is considerably low. Color looks very vivid, which is a very good thing. Now, because again, I'm telling you, in the indoor photography, light constantly changes. So that means that each photo can be very different from each other. So that's a challenge. In this case, again, I'm going to go to the lens correction, enable lens correction, have a quick look at my lens, which is a Sony 50mm f1.8. and check if I have it in my list. I don't have it, so I'm gonna select the manufacturer, click Sony. It's already made a change, but it looks pretty ugly, so I'm gonna select the appropriate lenses, which is Sony 50mm f1.8, not f1.4. 50mm f1.8, but I think it's not the same one, so should be another 50mm somewhere in the list. So it looks like it back to normal, so we are looking good here. Again, I'm gonna add a little bit of chromatic aberration, close the panel. Photo is actually well exposed. Honestly speaking, I'm feeling more safe in this photograph than the one prior. Although I'm going to go to the white balance, select the skin tone, put that on his skin, right somewhere in between, and see what's happening. So it changes. It's nothing wrong or right from the previous one, to be honest. Previous one is more yellow, where this one is more orange. To be honest, I prefer the previous one, so I'm gonna negotiate and then stay in between. Although in the shadow I'm gonna add some green, and in the brightness I'm gonna add some red, and I'm gonna stop at 5500. 5500 is one of the native for any camera format. So multi-light source compensation, I'm gonna add about 40. That should be fine. Although here in this part looks like his skin is clipping, I believe. So I'm gonna go to there in the exposure, reduce my highlight, go to the color burn HDR, pull it up as much as I can, maybe 100, because in this case I can go to extreme because his skin looks quite blown out. Now, color profile, what should I do? Maybe I'll keep it to natural, but I will change it to portrait this time. But when I say portrait, I still want the orange look, so I'm gonna go to somewhere red. There you go, that should be fine. Also, I'm going to change the curve to L, pull up the lower part of the luminance, pull down the lower midtone, like that, pull up the midtone, again, pull down the highlight part. I hope that you're following exactly what I'm doing. So if you are not following it, that's fine. You just have to repeat the video. Now here's the part. I think the gamma is way too much. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to either reduce the highlight exposure. So I'm going to try that first. And I'm going to add some black right there. Add a touch of clarity. Move up the contrast center a little bit like there. And so far you're looking very, very good. Now, I'm going to go to the red and add some bit more red in the highlight area like that, but I will pull down the red from the shadow part. Now I'm going to show you before and after. That's before and that's after. And I'm going to check if his skin is clipping. So I'm going to go there and then check the highlight warning and then wait for the warning. Looks like there's a little bit of color clipping, but it's manageable. What I can do, I can go to the fine color controller, try to find what is happening. So it's somewhere there. So I'm going to click on that direction, reduce the lightness, not too much, just a touch, reduce the saturation just a little bit, and change the hue to -2. So looks like we improved quite a bit. Look, so far so good. Everything else is clipping, but I cannot do much about it because that's how it is. Now finally, to finish it, I'm going to go to default to everything when it comes to noise reduction and sharpening. But noise reduction, I'll change the mode to fine detail and add, let's say, 73 demosaic sharpening as per SilkyPix Developer Studio Pro. And I'm done. I'm gonna wait. We're gonna go back to the previous photo now. There you go. So that's the previous photo. I'm gonna zoom. I'm gonna open the multi-view. I'm gonna add a little bit more outline emphasis on sharpening because I think it looks a little bit soft. Moment of truth. I'm gonna make everything small, and I'm going to show you before and after. So reset. And I'm going to close all the panels so that you can see exactly what is happening, the left and right, and in a bigger screen beam. Check this one out. The photo on the left is the original, photo on the right is our result. I'm going to zoom in for you so that you can see side by side exactly how far we have come. So that's the complete zoomed in version. As you can clearly see, due to the low light effect and the noise reduction, obviously I cannot do much because that's how the photo was taken. But although in general, when it comes to the color, when it comes to the skin tone, when it comes to the overall photo in general, this is tack sharp and perfectly usable for a magazine and photograph. Now that's our first photo. What happened to the next one? I'm gonna close this one, go to the next photo, put it on the side, and this one too, and then I'm going to do reset. As you can clearly see, that's not a significant change, but the photo on the right looks significantly better than the original one. And I'm going to zoom in to show you the sharpness. As you can clearly see, because of the bigger sensor of Sony, the editing was a lot easier. This one is less noise, very sharp, clean, and beautifully exposed. So yeah, this is it. I hope you liked this tutorial. If so, please like and subscribe and save this video for future practice, and go down to the description and follow me in the social media. Feel free to ask any question you have and I'm happy to help you. Look after yourself. Bye bye.